Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 190. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and today, for the first time, I'm joined by Steven. Steven, how's it going?
Pretty good. How, folks?
Good. If you guys want to catch this podcast live, you can go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You could drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live. You can join in on the fun and chaos of the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and puts one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, anyway, you can support the show. Likes, shares, subscriptions, whatever. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow, so if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Right, Artemis? Right. So, yeah. We got Steven on today to talk about some fun topics with you guys. So let's jump into topic one. A weird one of timing, at least for me. Let's talk about moving.
This is the greatest.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. So yeah, Steven, you've moved around quite a bit.
A few times.
Yeah, so I've never really picked your brain about it, just that experience. I mean, granted, you moved away, so it's a little harder to have those conversations. But yeah, you've been
gone just as much as I've been in New York.
Right.
Like, born and raised, went to high school here.
Right.
But then, 18, joined the Navy, and I had like a couple months of summer that year of my senior year.
Yeah.
And I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Came back 3 years later. Or 3 years ago.
Sure.
So I was gone for like 17, 18 years.
Decent chunk, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been California.
Yep.
You've been... Is it Maine?
Yep.
Okay, Maine. Hawaii.
Yes.
Those are the three.
If we don't count Florida.
Oh, you were in Florida.
Spent nearly a year down there, too.
Oh, okay.
I just training for...
Sure.
After I got out of the Navy.
Yeah.
So that was in Chicago. That was only 2 months, and I was in boot camp, so I don't really count that.
Sure.
Somewhere where I got to really experience, they let us leave for a day after graduation, and, I went to the mall with my parents, and so that wasn't that exciting, but, then they sent us down for, like, a secondary training school in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So that was when, because you go through boot camp, and then whatever your job is, your specialty, they'll send you wherever else to go do additional training.
Okay.
And then this one was, I did aviation electronics, so it was a longer school, one of the longer schools they have. So I was down there in Pensacola, Florida for 10 months.
Okay.
And then, got orders out to San Diego, California.
Gotcha.
So...
all around.
Yeah. That was the chunk of my 5 years in the Navy. I did a year in Florida, 2 in San Diego, and then I moved up to my second set of orders was Lemoore, California. It was like Central Valley.
Okay.
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible part of California.
Gotcha.
Central Valley, the sky's brown. It smells like cap crab.
Sure.
And that was horrible. That was a miserable way to end my tour. But then, picked stuff up and moved out to Maine.
Yeah.
And did 4 or 5 years there. Yeah, I have to do the math.
Sure.
But from 08 to 13. But if I go in too fast or you have any questions, let me know. Because I've told the short version so many times.
Sure,
so
it's just like
doing it long format, I'm just rolling through it. Yeah.
No, you're good.
But then did Maine, got out of the Navy, got my associate's degree in marine biology, went to community college while I was waiting tables. And so it was kind of my whole career track. One of the big reasons why I joined the Navy was for college money. Gets ironic later in the story.
Sure.
It was my main focus. I always wanted to be a marine biologist growing up, and that was kind of my goal. So that was going to give me the ability to do it. Got out, moved to Maine. I wanted to go to Boston, but realized we weren't going to be able to afford it. It's just too damn expensive for what we wanted to do. And that's when we found Portland, Maine, which is like Boston light. It's New England. It's on the coast. It's a beautiful small town. You got a lot of options, a lot of great food. A lot of great food options. Seafood, obviously, but a lot of higher end stuff too up there. I was up there for a while, going through school. Got to do an internship through there, which was fun. It was like 2 months or 2 weeks, somewhere in there.
Sure.
One of the two.
Yeah.
A bunch of time out on a boat, helping the NOAA for the North Atlantic Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Sure.
They do a scallop survey every year for the scallop fishermen.
Okay.
So they just go out and they take the numbers, but they need people who like work in the boats and doing all of the electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a research vessel that I got hooked up with. So I did that for a while. Kind of got a taste of like what a real life marine biologist would be out doing. That was more of like the crew side of it though than like the science side of it. But the scientists would come on board and I could kind of like observe them and see what they were doing, and it was just kind of cool to watch and get like a little bit more of an understanding of like what the job entails, you know, at least the fun part of it.
Sure.
Because that was, you know, they come out, they do their research, and then we pull them back.
Right.
But yeah, but that was fun. Got to see, like, you would pull up all, you know, they just trawl the bottom of the ocean, which is horrible. It decimates the you know, I'm just coming out of ecology class, and I'm like, oh, this is you have to rationalize like the cool things that you find that they dump out onto the table that you have to sort through, and you're just all the bycatch that you're throwing back in the ocean that from whatever 1,000 feet deep. Now they're at the surface and their eyeballs are bulging out of their heads, so that was kind of sad. But got to see a lot of cool stuff out there. Great experience. So then I graduated, got my degree, wrapped that up, and I was Hawaii bound. Like so I had two options. I could stay in Maine and go through like their program. It was a biology program primarily, or I looked around and there weren't too many universities that offered a marine biology specific degree, which is what I was really looking for. I want to be a marine biologist, you know, not just a biologist that specialized in marine science.
Okay.
And so University of Manoa in Hawaii offers a marine biology program, and I looked into it and I was like, all right, Val, I've got two options here. We can stay in Maine, and the winters there sucked. A beautiful city, loved it in the summers. The 2 months that you could spend in the water was great, but the winters were harsh. I mean, you know how they are here. They're just as worse, if not bad, up there. Rolling around in my tiny little truck, I had to put like bricks in the back just so I could like have traction and not fishtail everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, Maine or Hawaii? And she's like, you know, Hawaii.
Yeah.
So we spent the next 6 months literally selling everything we owned, liquidating everything that we had accumulated.
Sure.
Except for, I think we had sea bags full of clothes and a carry-on, and that's what we moved to Hawaii with.
Wow.
We stepped off the plane with a couple grand in our pockets. Did not even a place to stay yet. We just had a hotel room for a week.
Wow. Okay.
And we just found an apartment.
Yeah.
You know, tiny little studio thing.
Sure.
And that's where we stayed for a little while. That was like our first year and a half, 2 years, and we had like 3 different apartments once we got to Hawaii. But we stayed there for 7 years. And the way the University of Manoa works with the GI Bill is you have to be first a resident for a year before you can get in-state tuition, and they'll only pay the in-state tuition with the GI Bill. So I had to be a resident for a year anyways before I could even apply for school. Okay. So I went over there. I thought I had a job lined up because I was working at the Olive Garden, which is owned by Darden, and the only Darden restaurant that they had on the island was Yard House, if you've ever heard of them. But a little higher up, upscale, a lot of beer centric, like 100 beers on tap.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But the food's good too.
Yeah.
Menu was huge though, and it was all Hawaiian ingredients that I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm like, just, you know, fresh foot of the face on the island. And I just was like, all right, well, I don't think this is really going to work out. So I tried to look around for other things. I worked at this like a smoothie shack for a little while. This guy I worked with hooked me up. He's like, hey, if you need a job, I work for this tour company. You can come help me out with, you know, work up here. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take the job. And so what it was giving tours around the island on a double-decker tour bus, like in London, of the island. And they stuck me on the worst tour because I was the new guy. It was just a shopping tour, like where people didn't realize what they were buying really, but we just picked them up from like from their hotel. Like we would swing around Waikiki, pick everybody up, and then we would bring them to the shopping mall.
Sure.
And then drop them off, and be like, see you in 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
And then we would just pick them up from the shopping mall, move them to a different like plaza where they had a bunch of outlets. They're like, see you in 2 hours. And they're like, because everyone was foreign. Yeah. Like foreign tours. Australians were easy enough to cut, but all the Japanese and everywhere else, like language barriers out the wazoo. And I am fresh-faced on the island, giving tours that I looked up on Google the night before. Like, okay, well that'll be interesting to say. Trying to learn the history as I'm like reciting it. Like, okay, I can say this, and this. When we take this turn, I can say that. So that did. I was like, all right, I need to find something else. And then Val was working at Chili's there. I'm like, all right, serving, something I can go back and do. Like, it's easy menu. I know all the stuff. I can get it in. And so I worked there for a little while, and they shut down. And then started working at Tommy Bahama's. They had just opened up a brand new building. They built it for the restaurant, top to bottom. Started with a whole new staff, trained us all at the same time. Big class. It was really good experience. Worked there for 5 years, and it was like the best job. We were making $200-300 a night. So I mean, Hawaii was expensive.
Sure,
They cut into it pretty easily, but yeah. So and then after 7 years in the island, you island fever. You know, you just kind of gets to be a little much. You can't they don't really music acts or big act nothing really comes out to the island because it costs so much, the extra stuff that they have to bring along. So it's not really a trip that they're doing. You'll get stand-up comedians because all they need is a microphone, you know. So that was fun. We get to see a lot of stand-ups, but just not be able to travel and see something new. Or get in the car for 3 hours. If you did that, you were back at the same spot you started. So it was all right, I've seen everything. We went to a couple of different islands. We went to my 30th birthday, we went to the Big Island. That was awesome. I learned, I got qualified to scuba dive for that. Went scuba diving with manta rays at night.
Dang.
They have this candle box. One of the coolest things I've ever done. So they call it the campfire. It's pretty much a milk crate with a bunch of flashlights stuck in it.
Oh, sure.
But so when they put this at the bottom of the seafloor, you're probably about 30 feet down, not too far. You can see everybody up top. Val's up top snorkeling, looking down at me while I'm down there. But so you got this campfire with all the flashlights shining up in the water. And then everyone, you go down with your guide, and they sit you down on the bottom of the ocean floor, and they hand you a rock and put it in your lap.
Okay.
And you're just sitting there either enjoy the show.
Sure.
But so what the campfire is, it's attracting all the plankton. They're going to the light source where the bigger stuff's trying to eat the little stuff that's attracted to the light, and that's what these manta rays eat. So the things 14-foot wingspan come and just loop to loops, just swooping in and out. There was this one moray eel that they had. I think his name was Freddy or something like that, but he just cams out right there, swimming in and out, not worried, just hey buddy, how you doing? Head scratches and stuff. It was amazing. Going belly to belly with Val up top because she's looking down. It was so cool. So that was on the Big Island. Spent a week there for my 30th birthday. Got to see a volcano in person.
Okay.
That's cool. It was right after that big flow they had too. This had to have been when did I turn 30? 15s. It'd have been early January 2015. They had a big flow right up to where we're stopped. We stayed in the neighborhood over here. But I drove across the island, got to, snorkeling out there. Was underwhelming, but cool. It was better than the Oahu, the big, everyone goes to Hanama Bay. But the decimation of the coral reef there is because it's the most popular, most trafficked. Everyone's going there with their sunscreen and standing on the reef, even though they make you watch a 20-minute video before that says, do not do this. And they still, you just see people standing up there waving. So that's sad, but then on the Big Island, it's a lot more untouched. They've got a preserve that you have to take a boat an hour to get to, the Captain Cook Memorial or whatever on the other side of the island. But much more vibrant colors. The only place that I've seen better than that was when we went to Thailand. We did spend 3 weeks in Thailand while we were out there, and gorgeous. We took a 4-island tour, and in between, they would just be stop the boat and be go ahead, get in the water. Take 20 minutes, go look around, and I'm Mr. Marine Biologist over here. I'm underwater. No one can hear me. I'm just freaking out at myself, and I'm, out the boat, I'm thinking to myself, I should probably lift my head and see if Val's around. She's back on the boat, 50 yards away. Everyone else is drying off, and the guy's yeah, you should probably come back. I'm all right.
I don't want to.
But I wanted to spend all the time in the water. The only thing that got me was the last place we stopped, jumped in the water, and it was cloudy looking. And I'm ew, what the hell is that? And I'm realized what they surrounded by jellyfish.
Oh, jeez, okay.
I'm like, I'm like, okay, we're good. Everyone's like, there's jellyfish in there, and there are a couple of guys that were like, you're like, oh, we're good. Because they've already seen a couple. They found out real quick, so. But yeah, no, that was an amazing trip as well. But I can talk about that for the whole podcast. And then so Island Fever, kind of wanted to like move somewhere else. Right after Charles' wedding there, we were toying with the idea of moving up to the Pacific Northwest, the only corner of the country I hadn't seen yet, you know. And so we were like, all right, after the wedding, we'll take a drive up, and because we knew like San Francisco was a couldn't afford Boston, you couldn't afford San Francisco. But we were thinking like somewhere outside of like Portland or Seattle, and got up there and wasn't impressed. Okay. It was just meh. And it was like, I forget, like the riots were going on, but there was a bunch of civil unrest anyways, and it was just like, I don't know if we went on an off week or what, like the downtown just seemed very not happening, and and then the prices for the neighborhoods we could afford were so far outside of the city, the commute was going to be horrendous, so that took us off of that, but we were still like, all right, so what are we going to do? Where are we going to move? And then Grandma and Grandpa's house, you know, I mean, we know, but I don't know about anybody else. The house that, you know, I spent the first year of my life in, and, you know, we've had so many shared memories as well as everybody else in the family. That was like the get-together party house, you know, and so every birthday, holiday, whatever occasion it was, that's where we got together. So running around and, like, all those memories tied to it, I heard it was going up for sale because they had both passed. And I was like, well, I mean, that sucks. I figured someone was going to snatch it up, and you know, someone was going to be fighting for it, you know. And like, now we're just going to put it up for sale and divvy it up. And so I'm like, well, I was like, Val, what would you think about moving back home? She's like, why? I mean, honestly, her family's all gone, but they're up in down in North Carolina still. But I'm like, I mean, the opportunity that we would have to be homeowners, buy the property, and like it was feasible. We just had to work some things out, and I'm like, this is going to be our best shot to like lock something in and actually make it ours, and not be renters the rest of our lives. And she was convinced. She was like, yeah, let's do it. And she's been looking at houses since we were in Maine. Like literally, we had a real estate agent. We were looking at properties. Like she's like, we can afford this one. I'm like, babe, it doesn't have ceilings or floors. Places like that. I'm like, but look at the yard. I'm like, yeah, but look at the house. And so it was just out of our range, anyways. And we still were. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't get locked in because we never would have moved to Hawaii. And I ended up with the house that we got now. So it all works out, you know. I mean. Still getting used to things, being back in town, family. It's a lot. I've done, like I said, 18 years. We just kind of lived my own and out with Val and doing our own thing. And then going from big city, like Portland's not huge, but it's a decent sized little city. And then living in the middle of Waikiki, that's hustle and bustle constantly. To Mechanicville across the river, like historic. Not even downtown Mechanicville. I can't even just like walk to the plaza. It's a trek across the bridge. But you know, hey, it's give and take. It's the trade-in. I got an acre on the river. You know, I mean, it's a great piece of property. I love taking care of it. Just kind of zen out and mow my yard. You know, like mow my lawn. The shuffling of the sidewalks, I can. But, wow. Man. Bought a snowblower 2 years ago now. I haven't seen a snowstorm since.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Just enough to have to get out there and shovel. But, yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of been my go-around of things.
So, with your experiences of moving, what would you say has been the most stressful experience?
Ooh, that last-minute cram. When you're like, we only have so much, because most of my moves have been stressful, cross-country moves. So, I mean, like I decided when the Hawaii move from Maine to Hawaii, we had to sell everything. It took a while. So we were literally out there selling all of our crap just to pare down. That was a process. But then our most stressful move, we moved from, was when I got out of the Navy, we were moving from Lemoore, California to Portland, Maine. with a cat.
Right.
And Val's Kia Rio. Filled, stuffed with everything we could that we couldn't get on the truck, or we didn't get on the truck because we had a moving truck. This truck, I don't know why it didn't fit, but it didn't fit.
Sure. So
we're last minute trying to get these things out because we gotta turn the keys in. The cat's already in the car. Screw it, we're just throwing it out. We'll get a new one. And then we had to drive 3,000 miles with a cat in the car who didn't eat, didn't go to the bathroom, didn't do anything but cry the entire time. So we had this whole cross country trip planned. Like, we were going to take our time and go around like, oh, this is where we're going to see the Grand Canyon, I'm going to see the Hoover Dam, and you know, it's like, no, straight shot across, so that kind of sucked. But most stressful is, I don't know, it's just a stressful process, really.
Definitely.
I mean, trying to pare stuff down that you're still using, depending on the type of move you're doing. Like, is it all in one day, or do you have a week to do it?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely
it's a completely different concept, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you doing it yourselves, or do you have friends? I mean, if you're moving furniture, that person on the other side of the couch, that's always a fun experience. Your left! Clockwise! Oh, God. Charlie and I almost came to blows last time we had to move a couch together.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, furniture.
Okay. Yeah.
Furniture is definitely up there.
Sure.
Angles, and then trying not to scratch. Like, you went your entire lease, however many years, not damaging the place, and then you go to move one piece of furniture and you put a gouge in the drywall.
Yep.
That's what I needed.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely fair. Yeah. You mentioned the cross country stuff. Like, obviously, I have my experiences with that as well. Like, same idea. Just we loaded my car with as much crap as would fit in it.
Yes, sir.
And then I didn't do a truck. I flew out there, and then we did like one of those big trucks that just carries the
like
cars.
A pod or whatever.
Yeah. So we did that. So when I first moved out there, like, not having a bed, not having anything for a few days, just like, I'm bored. But yeah, finally getting everything over there, and then the return trip was, Mom and I driving cross country, and like you said, just like straight shot. And I mean,
too long, 3 days in the car.
Right, and I mean, looking back at it, wasn't like awful, but like obviously in the moment, it's just like, there's corn. Yep, there's more corn.
Iowa, Nebraska, that stretch is horrendous.
Yep.
The only thing worse is if you're doing the southern portion, going through like Texas on the 10.
Oh, okay.
It's just desert. Just nothing.
Sure. Yeah, that was interesting because I remember, like, obviously it's jam packed, and like you said, oh, we can't bring this, toss it, kind of thing. Like going past Vegas and just seeing it like in the distance, like, oh, that's cool.
Like, oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
And then Colorado was rough because the car's obviously way down.
The tunnels, and you're waiting on each side.
So going up the mountains and hearing the car struggle, like it still sounds that way from time to time from all that. I'm like, oh, damn. But then once you get past that, like, it was smooth sailing, just minus obviously seeing things, at least different things.
Right, they get that highway hypnosis.
Yeah, but that was, all in all, thankfully, everything went fine. And then being back here has been good, but then Kate moving out, like you mentioned with the cat, like Artemis, luckily enough, I had our new apartment ready, so she flew with him.
Okay,
and
that's the way to do it. Yeah. That was how we were originally going to do it. Val was going to fly out, come back, and then we were going to take our little trip.
Yeah, so she did that, and then he was able to get settled with me, and then when she was ready to go, I flew out, and then we took the drive together. And that was
smarter.
Same idea of like just jam pack the car and do what we can.
Sometimes do what you got. But planning. Yeah, if you don't use it, if you haven't touched it the last month, put it in a box.
Sure.
Like obviously you're down to the last minute here.
Sure.
But that's would be my advice is just if you don't use it, put it away now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something I've definitely noticed. Like even with a small move like what we're doing now, is just like unloading the bookshelves. Like, I haven't touched this in how long? Do I need that?
Decoration, take it off the walls. You know.
So it's like, it's weird. I don't know if it's like an age thing of like, cause like I don't know. Typically, as people, we want new stuff. I want this thing, that thing, and all that. And then I'm like having that moment with this move. I'm just like, wait, do I really want all this stuff?
Oh, God.
Or, not?
It hurt my soul getting rid of all my physical media.
Sure.
Even though I haven't put a disc in anything in the last, however long, but, like, I had my DVD collection. I had hundreds of, because, I sort through the bargain bin at, Best Buy, and you're like, ooh, $1.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I'm looking at it, I'm like,
My
I haven't
CD
touched
collection.
it, but, like, I don't want to get rid of it.
Now.
Yeah.
Even games, like, it's just their downloads.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. So,
just to touch back on that, you had mentioned going to Blockbuster or something,
Sure.
like the horror movies when we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
And just like that memory of going in on a Friday night and just seeing everything lined up, like all of the art, the cover art. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my, what is this about? And then you would go, it's not the same, just like thumbing through
the
Netflix
queue,
and do I watch that preview? Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a visceral experience.
Sure.
That we don't get anymore, like with the thumbing through like guides for books or lyrics for songs, and just nostalgia.
Sure.
Old folks talk.
Yeah, definitely different. So, with you being all around,
well traveled,
yeah. What has been your favorite place in terms of weather to live?
I mean, it's a toss-up. I mean, I've got the best two places in the country: San Diego and Waikiki, like Hawaii. It's like, I don't know. You did.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of like the because San Diego's got a little bit more variability.
Yes.
A little more seasonality to it than Hawaii does, and that's the only thing I really missed over the years was not having the seasons, not having the leaves change, or the spring, air. Mm-hmm. It was just summer or cool summer.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful in Hawaii. Like 75, 80 degrees, sunny. Mm-hmm. Like it's only 10 degrees difference in the winter than it is the summer on average.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm gonna say Hawaii just because.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lived in two of the best places you could.
Sure. For
9 years total.
Mm-hmm. And then in terms of things to do, what was your favorite place?
Things to do. San Diego. Mm-hmm. San Diego edges out anywhere else just because it was mainland USA, and you were in a big city, and it was just so much to do with it. Like right across the bridge, or in the gas lamp, and they had all the big sports teams, music venues, and you could access to everything. Mm-hmm. Portland, Maine, not everybody makes it up there, but a lot of people make it down to San Diego. Sure, it's a little bit bigger of a place. So and then you don't get anything in Hawaii. There are things to do. Right. You're looking for things to do once night comes.
Mm-hmm. Thought I had something and I lost it. Okay. Well, you said you feel settled now with the house. More locked in. This is your place. It's yours.
My lot in life.
Yeah. Is there anywhere that you didn't go that you would move to, or at least has been like an allure, like a draw for you?
Recently, Austin's been getting a lot of buzz.
Sure.
I would never think Texas would be the spot for me.
Yep.
The weather seems horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as cities, it seems like it's like Portland of the South.
Mm-hmm.
So Portland has its own characteristics, but like I said, if I gave it more time, I think I'd like it better.
Sure.
Portland, Washington, keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it another shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anywhere else. Maybe I'm about to say Chicago.
Sure.
But no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'd give Portland another shot.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. All right. One last thing.
Sure.
Since you've moved so many times,
yes.
What is your biggest tip for people moving?
Pare down. Get rid of all of your crap. You're not going to use it. If you don't use it on the daily, really reconsider why you have it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Nice.
Yeah, it just makes the whole process a lot easier.
Mm.
I mean, the longer you stay in one spot, the more you like put stuff away.
Sure.
That's gonna be my downfall, is because I've got a house with a garage and an attic and a basement now.
Storage.
Screened out.
Yep.
I've got so many places to store things that, like, why not? Why throw this away? Just throw it over here, you know?
Yep.
But it's going to pile up just like it does for everybody else. So,
Sure.
yeah, every spring, just even if you're not moving, go through your crap and pare it down. Just don't hold on to stuff you don't need.
Mm-hmm.